I am Daria Marcus, the real long-lost daughter of the Marcus family. In my past life, the fake heiress, Selina, who had taken my place for years, and I were rivals for a long time. Everything collapsed when my fiancé, Farley Jason, revealed his true colors. He ruined my entire family to steal the new pharmaceutical technology my father invented. Before he died, my father hid the research data chip in my hand and desperately pushed me to flee abroad. Afterward, Selina suddenly went mad and was sent to a mental hospital by Farley Jason. She was tortured to death, but never revealed my whereabouts. By the time Farley Jason captured me, her body was covered in wounds, and she had only a weak breath left. She died soon after, and I took my own life. Opening my eyes once again, I returned to the day I was welcomed back into the Marcus family. Selina was crying pitifully, tears falling one by one, both vulnerable and subtly manipulative. She choked out, "Mother, father, is it true that you won't need Selina anymore?" As she spoke, she pointed to the diamond necklace around my neck, a welcome back gift from my mother, and sniffled. "Sister's necklace is so beautiful. It's a pity Selina is no longer worthy to wear it." I smiled, took the necklace off, and placed it in her hand. My voice was calm. "It's fine. We were born on the same day, but I heard I arrived a few hours earlier than you. Since I'm the older sister, it's only right for me to give my younger sister a welcome gift." At my words, Selina froze. She looked at me with a startled expression, as if looking at a stranger. The thousands of prepared words in her mind caught in her throat. She clenched the necklace, her young face still bearing a trace of childlike features, flushing red, whether from shame or fury. In the past life, standing here, I was so provoked by her pitiful appearance that I trembled with anger. I remained silent, my face was cold, making everyone believe that the daughter lost for 18 years in the countryside was a vulgar person with no etiquette. My mother, trying to console her, even asked me to lend Selina the necklace temporarily, but I outright refused, causing the reunion to end on an unhappy note. But now, facing that innocent face, I only felt a sharp pain in my heart, as if an invisible hand was squeezing it tight. I remembered her final appearance in Farley Jason's mental hospital, tortured to skin and bones, her once beautiful, proud face covered in crisscrossing scars. When she saw me captured and dragged back, her cloudy eyes flashed with a glimmer of despair, and she whispered shakily, "Daria Marcus, don't disgrace the Marcus family." Then, right before my eyes, she plunged a surgical knife straight into her heart. Blood sprayed everywhere, staining the walls and reddening my vision. Across 2 lifetimes, the nightmare I couldn't escape wasn't Farley Jason, but Selina, the woman who hated me for half a lifetime, yet used her own life to teach me what true integrity of a Marcus family member meant. I took a deep breath, swallowing the lump in my throat, then offered a faint smile, gently placing the necklace back in her hand, softly repeating, "We are sisters. It's only right for the elder sister to give a gift." My mother looked slightly surprised, and my father scrutinized me, seemingly searching for something in my eyes. I simply smiled, answering calmly, "Father, Mother, Selina has been with you since childhood. Now that I've returned, it's natural for her to feel uneasy and unable to accept it immediately. As the older sister, I should be more accommodating. The most important thing is for our family to be harmonious." As soon as I spoke, my parents' eyes slowly softened, filled with surprise and compassion. A moment later, Mother pulled Selina's hand. Her voice was choked. "That's right, Selina. This is not your fault, nor is it Daria's fault. Whether you bear the Marcus name or not, you are still our daughter." Father also sighed, adding gently, "Daria is right. No matter what, you are still a Marcus family daughter. From now on, you 2 sisters must love each other and stop being angry." Selina bowed her head, clutching the necklace. No one could see her expression clearly, but I knew she didn't believe me. In the previous life, we were like 2 blunt knives grinding against each other until both were destroyed. So now in her eyes, she must think I'm setting a trap. 20 years ago, Selina and I were born in the same small delivery room in the countryside. That day, my parents were on a charity medical visit, and my mother went into labor early due to a heavy storm. Only 2 baby girls, Selina and I, were born that day, but for some unknown reason, the records were mixed up and we were swapped. It wasn't until a few months ago, when the school held a blood drive, that the tests revealed the truth. So I was welcomed from the countryside back to the Marcus family villa, while Selina adamantly refused to leave. After discussion, both families agreed for her to stay as an adopted daughter. Everything was the same as the previous life. I was assigned the room right next to hers, with almost identical furnishings, meticulously arranged by my mother. That night, I was thirsty and went downstairs for a drink, only to catch Selina sneaking out of my room. I didn't say anything, just quietly turned back. Flipping on the light, I checked around. Under my pillow, there was indeed a fake cockroach with plastic legs wiggling out. I picked it up, squeezed it gently in my hand, watched the plastic legs struggle, and let out a soft laugh. How adorable. This naive, childish side of Selina, playing petty tricks, was 1,000 times more endearing than the rigid body and wide-open, unclosing eyes of the woman who lay on the cold floor in the previous life. The next day, I turned the fake cockroach into a keychain and hung it right on my handbag. Selina saw it, her face turning ashen as if she had seen a ghost, nearly dropping the glass of water in her hand. From that day on, the clumsy pranks aimed at me continued. She secretly put salt in my glass of milk and sat watching, hoping I would spit it out. I just smiled and drank it all, pretending nothing was wrong. She hid my pajamas while I was showering, hiding outside the door, waiting for me to scream for help. I just wrapped myself in a towel, stepped out, smiled, and said thank you. Perfect timing, I was feeling hot. A little fresh air will cool me down. She even told the butler that I was rough and stole things because of my rural background, urging them to keep an eye on the valuables in the house. Immediately after, the gossiping maid, thinking she had scored a major victory, ran to tell me. I just smiled, gathered all the bank cards and allowance my parents had given me, and placed them into Selina's hand, saying sweetly, "Little sister, I'm clumsy. I'm not good at managing money. Can you hold on to these for me? The password is our combined birthday. Buy whatever you like. You don't need to ask me." Then, I gently suggested to my parents that they fire the gossiping maid. Selina stood dumbfounded, clutching the stack of cards as if thrown into a philosophical dilemma. Who am I? What am I doing? What does she want? Her hostility was like a punch landing in cotton wool. Not only did it not hurt me, but it choked her with frustration. From then on, she began to suspect that I was an even better actress than she was, believing I was a true White Lotus master. That afternoon, I met her in the garden. She was wearing a white dress, standing in the sun, instructing the workers to prune the climbing rose bushes, her favorite flower. Seeing me, she lifted her chin, looking as haughty as a small peacock showing off its tail feathers, and smirked. "I planted these roses with father. Don't touch them, sister. They aren't wildflowers from the countryside. They're very precious." Her words weren't direct, but the implication was clear. I was rustic and crude, unworthy of touching anything beautiful. In the past life, upon hearing that, I was so enraged that I snapped a blooming branch right off, and we got into a huge fight, scratching and pulling hair, forcing our parents to intervene. But now I looked at the roses blooming in the sun, and my mind flashed to the dark, small room in the mental hospital, where there was only a narrow window with withered branches outside. Before she died, Selina had stared at that window, whispering hoarsely to me, "Daria Marcus, I want to see the climbing roses." At that thought, tears fell from my eyes without warning. It wasn't sobbing, but large, silent drops, as if 2 lifetimes of grief were condensed into one moment. Selina stood stock still, looking at me with confusion. Her eyes were wide, unsure what to do. Her voice trembled. Why are you crying? I didn't bully you, so why are you crying?" I wiped my tears and shook my head, my voice catching. "No, I just think these flowers are so beautiful." She looked at me. Her eyes were skeptical, as if I were insane. But then, perhaps realizing something, she flinched, her face changing color. She immediately became alert, staring straight into my eyes, and said, "Don't act. I'm telling you, Daria Marcus, I won't fall for your trap. I never thought you could be even better at pretending than me." Seeing her so furious that she puffed up like a small cat, I couldn't help but laugh, my lips curving even as my tears were not yet dry. I took a step forward, she took a step back. I reached out to wipe a smudge from her cheek, but she violently pulled away, screaming in alarm, "You! What are you trying to do?" I looked at her, my smile deepening, my voice light as a breeze. "Selina, why are you so adorable?" As soon as I finished, her small face flushed red, from her neck all the way to her ears in an instant. The first month after my rebirth, we lived in that strange atmosphere. She guarded against me, and I doted on her. She looked at me like an enemy, and I treated her like a precious treasure just returned to me by fate. I stuck close to her, coaxing, teasing, and protecting her every moment. She remained cautious, backing away, suspecting me as if I were a dangerous beast. The relationship between us became an incomprehensible thing in the eyes of the Marcus family. Our parents saw the sight and simply smiled with satisfaction, thinking we were bonding. Then the day came, my and Selina's 20th birthday, and the official welcome home party. The Marcus family held a lavish party, inviting nearly all the city's high society. In the past life, it was Selina's nightmare and the beginning of my tragedy. At that party, Farley Jason, who was supposed to be my fiancé, stood on stage, announcing the engagement between the Jason and Marcus families with elegance and a gentle voice. The person standing by his side was me, the newly welcomed biological daughter. Selina had loved Farley Jason madly, so when she heard the news, she hated me to the bone. In her eyes, I had stolen everything, both the man she loved and the position she held. But back then, neither of us knew that Farley Jason, with his gentle, warm appearance, was just a hypocrite behind a saintly mask. What he wanted was never a fiancé, but the technological secrets of the Marcus family. The Marcus family was a famous medical dynasty. My parents were both pharmaceutical doctors, dedicating their lives to researching new drugs. Perhaps that talent ran in my blood, so when applying for university almost by instinct, I chose pharmaceutics. Only Selina, who grew up in the medical family, cared nothing for drugs or research. Her entire mind was focused on Farley Jason. She loved him blindly, loved him so much that she lost herself. It wasn't only when the Marcus family was destroyed, my parents died tragically, and she ran to confront Farley Jason that she saw his true face. After that, Farley Jason shed his gentle pretense and threw her into the mental hospital, a place only a wall away from hell. Before my father died, he gave me the chip containing all the clinical data for the new drug, calling it the Marcus family's last hope. He risked his life to push me to escape abroad, so I could live and the research could be preserved. That research could change the entire global medical field, and was the reason Farley Jason turned against us. When he couldn't find me, he took out all his resentment on Selina, torturing her with the most brutal extremes just to force her to reveal my whereabouts. He once promised, "Selina, tell me where she is, and I will spare you. I will treat you as before." But even at the very last moment, she remained silent. A year later, he finally found me, captured me, dragged me back, and tossed me beside Selina, who was tortured beyond recognition. Farley Jason told me, "Daria, hand over the chip and I will let Selina die a quick death. Look, her fingers were broken bone by bone, yet she still wouldn't reveal your location. Truly deep sisterly affection. Don't worry, you'll be just like her soon." Those images and voices were like a curse, relentlessly twisting in my mind. Thinking of the past, my face instantly went pale, cold sweat soaked my back, and breathing became difficult. Selina stood right beside me, looking at me strangely. She was so close that I could faintly smell the rose scent on her. That familiar scent acted like a sedative, giving my chaotic thoughts a small anchor. I trembled and gripped her hand, clenching it so tightly that my knuckles turned white. My voice was a whisper, each word squeezed out from between my teeth. "Don't go." Selina glanced where my eyes were directed and saw Farley Jason approaching. Her eyes instantly lit up with a mix of admiration, shyness, and anticipation. I was all too familiar with that look. She had used the exact same gaze to pursue Farley Jason for years in the past life. At that moment, Farley Jason walked over with a pleasant smile, speaking elegantly, with a hint of tenderness that made my heart drop. "No, I won't let that happen again. Farley Jason is a devil. He doesn't deserve Selina's affection," I said in a low voice, looking straight at Selina. "Stay away from him." My eyes must have looked terrifying now. At my words, Selina's face flushed red. The flicker of excitement vanished, replaced by a spark of anger. She pulled her hand free from mine, lifted her skirt, and darted like a floral butterfly to Farley Jason's side. Her voice was sweet. "Brother Farley, you're here." Farley Jason smiled, gently patting her head with a look of affection. Then his eyes flickered, stopping on me. He offered a perfect smile. His eyes were so gentle they could drip water, and his voice was warm. "Hello, Daria Marcus. This is our first meeting. I am Farley Jason." Seeing that fake expression, a storm surged in my heart. I forced myself to stay calm, replying smoothly, "Hello." A hint of surprise flashed in Farley Jason's eyes. He probably expected me to be like a country girl, shy, bewildered, or looking at him with admiration and awe, not with this current coldness. But he didn't know that beneath that cold mask I hid a heart that wanted to tear him into pieces. Having said my piece, I smiled politely and continued softly, "Excuse me, I have something I need to attend to inside." Then I turned and walked away, heading upstairs. I took out my phone and messaged Selina. "Come to the second floor terrace, I have something to show you." She glanced at her phone, her expression slightly changing. After a moment of hesitation, she said something to Farley Jason, then turned and headed upstairs. But I didn't go to the terrace. I turned into a utility room, quickly borrowing a bucket of floor cleaning water from a cleaning staff member, then quietly crept along the circular corridor directly above the main hall. From here, I had a clear view of the scene below. Farley Jason stood in the middle of the hall, holding a wine glass, looking poised and courteous. His smile was so refined that anyone would praise him as a talented young man. But I knew that beneath that skin was a dirty, greedy face. What he craved was never affection, but the Marcus family's proprietary pharmaceutical technology. He wouldn't hesitate to destroy my entire family for the chip containing my father's research data. I looked at him, the hatred in my eyes almost solidifying. Then I smiled, thinking to myself, Farley Jason, this time, let's play a different game. I tilted the bucket of water. A loud whoosh sound rang out. The ice-cold stream of water poured straight down from the second floor, hitting Farley Jason precisely, soaking him from head to toe. The sound of water echoed through the silent space, and the entire hall was stunned for a moment. All eyes focused on the dripping man, water running down his hair, his expensive suit clinging to his body. The image of the perfect gentleman was instantly shattered. I feigned shock, let out a soft cry, and slipped, causing the bucket to fall with a resounding clang. Peeking my head over the railing, I imitated Selina's weak voice from the past, my eyes wide and innocent. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I just slipped." Farley Jason's face was as dark as a pot. He was drenched, water dripping from his hair down his collar, each drop falling to the floor. Yet, he had to force himself to maintain a fake smile. In front of so many eyes, he couldn't lose his temper. He gritted his teeth and replied, "It's fine." Selina ran down from the terrace. When she saw the scene, she froze, then screamed, "Daria Marcus, are you crazy?" I stood on the second floor, looking down at her, maintaining my smile, and replied softly, "You look even more adorable when you're angry." Selina was stunned. Her eyes seemed to scream, "This woman must have a psychological problem." The party ended in an awkward atmosphere. My father instructed the butler to take Farley Jason to a changing room, and my mother pulled me aside, scolding me softly for a few moments. Then Farley Jason left the villa with a dark face, and the birthday party quietly dissolved. That evening, Selina stormed straight into my room. The door slammed loudly, echoing throughout the hallway. Her voice was full of frustration. "Daria Marcus, what exactly do you want? You did that on purpose, didn't you?" Her eyes were red-rimmed, trembling with anger. She continued, "Do you know how much you embarrassed Brother Farley? You're jealous of me, right? Jealous that he treats me well." I sat in front of the dressing table, slowly removing my makeup. My voice was calm. "Yes, I did it on purpose." She choked on her words, perhaps not expecting me to admit it so casually. She gritted her teeth and said, "I'm telling you, even though the engagement is with you now, the person Brother Farley truly loves will always be me." I turned to look at her, a faint smirk on my lips. "Really? Are you sure?" She lifted her chin, her voice was firm. "Absolutely." I sighed softly, then signaled, "Come here, I have something fascinating to show you." Selina was wary. "What trick are you trying to play now?" I opened my laptop and played a video. In the frame was my father's study, and the man who had just changed out of his wetsuit was none other than Farley Jason. He looked around, confirming no one was there, and quickly walked to the desk. He pulled a USB drive from his jacket pocket and plugged it into my father's computer. Data streams began rapidly running across the screen. Finally, he pulled out his phone and made a call. Farley Jason's voice was clearly audible in the video. He spoke in fluent, cold English. "I got the item. The data is encrypted. It needs time to decrypt. Don't worry, this time they're finished. That stupid adopted daughter of the Marcus family is as dense as a pig. She only has eyes for me. I just have to crook my finger and she'll obediently listen. She'll definitely help me." The video stopped. The room was silent. Selina stood frozen, her complexion changing from red to ashen. The blood seemed to drain from her face. Her lips trembled. She opened her mouth but couldn't utter a single word. The man she had loved for so many years, the man she still called by the tender name Brother Farley, was just a filthy traitor. For a girl who had just turned 20, it was like the sky had collapsed. I looked at Selina's swaying posture, a pang of bitterness in my heart. I walked over, gently placed my hand on her shoulder, and said in the softest voice possible, "Don't be sad. Even if you are a pig, you are the cutest pig in the world." I thought she would collapse, scream, or ask me why I did it, but she didn't. Selina bit her lip hard, her nails digging into her palms until they bled. Then she lifted her head. Her eyes were red-rimmed, burning with an unprecedented hatred. She enunciated every word. Daria Marcus. I want him dead. I was momentarily stunned, then let out a soft laugh. That's right. This is my sister, the girl who would rather run headfirst into a wall than betray me. She was strong, unyielding, and would shatter like jade rather than be subdued. I took Selina's cold hand, squeezed it lightly, and said with determination, "Good, we will do it together." In that moment, the wall between her and me finally collapsed. In the following days, the relationship between Selina and me changed completely. From two adversaries, we became the most intuitive allies. We started playing the old game again, but this time, the one being played wasn't me, but Farley Jason. What Farley Jason stole from my father's computer was the fake data set I had prepared beforehand, a perfect bait that he willingly took. We, setting aside that matter for the moment, shifted our focus to making Farley Jason miserable. We began utilizing Selina's innate green tea talent. He invited me out to dinner, pretending he wanted to strengthen our relationship. Just as the date began, Selina coincidentally appeared, her eyes brimming with tears, her voice softly trembling. "Sister, did Brother Farley say I'm bothering you?" Then turning to Farley Jason, she continued with tear-filled eyes. "Brother Farley, I know my sister is engaged to you now and I shouldn't be here, but I truly couldn't control myself." Farley Jason was driven mad by her confusion. On one side was his rightful fiancé, and on the other, his innocent mistress with utilitarian value. He didn't know whom to comfort first. And me? I sat there, smiling lightly, intervening at just the right moment with the most gentle and forgiving tone possible. "Little sister, don't say that. Feelings can't be forced. Even though Brother Farley is my fiancé, if you two are truly in love, I will bless you." The room fell silent. Farley Jason was frozen, forcing a smile, trying to find words to appease both of us. Like this, one magnanimous, one passionate, and he was caught between two fires. We cooperated so well that even the wind would want to applaud. One time, Selina and I secretly put a powerful laxative into his favorite cup of coffee. That day, he had an important business meeting. The result was predictable. People said he was stuck in the restroom for 3 hours. When he came out, his face was green, and he was staggering, and the business deal, of course, collapsed. Yet afterward, he still had to force a smile while accepting our concerned inquiries. Selina asked with a worried expression, "Brother Farley, are you okay? Did you eat something bad?" I chimed in softly, "Yes, health is more important than contracts. It's okay. If you miss this opportunity, there's always next time." Farley Jason looked at the two of us, his temple veins throbbing, his lips trembling. In the end, he could only grind out 3 words, "I am fine." That night, Selina and I lay in bed, laughing so hard that we rolled around, thoroughly amused. "Daria Marcus, did you see his face then? Like he just swallowed a fly, haha." I was laughing so hard I was hiccuping, tears welling up. I never thought being a green tea could be this fun. Selina blushed, arguing back. Her face was red, her eyes shining. "I am not green tea." I looked at her, laughing, and couldn't help but hug her. My voice was sweet. "Selina, thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for choosing to stand by me. And thank you for protecting me with your life in the past life." Her body stiffened slightly, then she immediately pushed me away, crossed her arms, and said seriously, "Daria Marcus, I'm warning you, don't have any strange intentions toward me." I laughed, feeling a strange warmth in my heart. That silly behavior was so adorable that it made one want to tease her a few more times. Soon after, Farley Jason finally decrypted the fake data set. He discovered that my father's new drug research had reached the final breakthrough, lacking only the clinical data synthesis stage. Once completed, this invention could revolutionize the entire pharmaceutical industry. He also learned that my father had stored all the real data on a chip. This news excited him and the foreign organization behind him to the extreme. From then on, Farley Jason continuously contacted Selina and me, talking in circles, trying to probe the location of the chip. I replied calmly, "I'm sorry, I cannot disclose that information." And Selina, according to the script we had prepared, initially pretended to be completely unaware. Then gradually, under Farley Jason's sweet talk and fake gentle eyes, she began to waver little by little. Finally, she accidentally revealed, "Apparently, my father hid the chip in the safe in the study room. The password is the date Daria Marcus was welcomed back into the Marcus family." She then added a sulky sentence, "How ridiculous, it turns out that in his eyes, only that day was the most important one." Half truth, half lie, that's what makes people believe easily. And just as predicted, Farley Jason took the bait. Everything proceeded according to plan. I had already shown the video evidence of Farley Jason to my parents. After learning his true nature, they were furious and immediately agreed to cooperate with us to stage a perfect drama. That weekend was Operation Day. According to the plan, our whole family was supposed to leave the city to attend a charity event in the suburbs, only returning late that night. Only an elderly, hard-of-hearing maid was left in the house. A perfect opportunity for the thief to act. We drove away from the villa, but only went a few streets away, hiding in a small house, using the indoor surveillance system to monitor the entire process. Less than half an hour after we left, Farley Jason appeared. He stealthily opened the door with a prepared spare key, then skillfully avoided the blind spots of the surveillance cameras. His movements were practiced and cautious, as if he had done this more than once. He went straight upstairs to my father's study. In front of him was the safe. He entered the password Selina had accidentally revealed. Click, the safe opened. Inside, besides some cash and a few pieces of jewelry, lay a small black chip. Excitement showed on Farley Jason's face. He took out his laptop and a card reader, quickly plugged in the chip, a greedy, triumphant smile on his lips. But what he was opening wasn't medical data, it was a trap. That chip contained a special program I had custom written by my best hacker friend. Once connected to the internet, it would immediately activate, using the chip as a launchpad to infiltrate his entire system and the organization behind him. All their clandestine transactions, money laundering, and illicit documents would be automatically backed up and sent to our hidden server, simultaneously forwarding directly to the police and international media agencies. After completion, the program would self-destruct, wiping the data in his system, turning all his counter-evidence into dust. That was the real gift we had prepared for Farley Jason. On the surveillance screen, we saw him plug the chip into the computer, starting to copy the data. Then he connected to the internet, preparing to send it to his superiors. My parents and I exchanged glances. My father calmly picked up the phone, dialed a number, and said serenely, "Hello, you can cast the net now." When Farley Jason pressed the send button, his face showed extreme satisfaction. He thought he had won, thinking he was about to climb to the pinnacle of his life. But he didn't know that at that very moment, major media outlets and police forces worldwide had received an anonymous email denunciation. The email detailed the evidence regarding the illegal pharmaceutical trading organization he was involved in. Specifically regarding him, as the regional contact in Asia, all personal information, bank transaction flows, and even the IP address of the computer that just sent the documents were clearly stated. Thus, a net cast by justice silently tightened around him without his knowledge. Just as he removed the chip, satisfied and ready to leave the scene, the main door of my house was suddenly breached from the outside. A fully equipped National Security Special Forces team swarmed in, their cold black gun barrels pointed straight at him. The smile on Farley Jason's face froze for a moment. He was stunned, his eyes widened with horror, completely unable to comprehend what was happening. Just then, our entire family slowly walked in behind the police force. My father looked at him, his eyes were icy, his voice cutting. "I suppose you didn't see this coming?" Farley Jason saw us, his pupils constricting, his face turning paper white. He trembled, pointing at us, his mouth shaking, unable to form words. You people, why?" I stepped forward, offering a faint smile, looking straight at him. "We just invited you into the net." Selina also stood beside me. The look in her eyes for Farley Jason was no longer affection or infatuation, only contempt and ridicule remained. Selina glared, her voice was full of disgust. "Truly as stupid as a pig!" Farley Jason's face instantly turned livid. He knew he was utterly finished. As the police restrained him and led him away, he still screamed maniacally, "Daria Marcus! Selina, I won't forgive either of you, even if I die." I just stood watching, my eyes were calm, my heart unruffled. I thought to myself, die? In the past life, you didn't even let us die with dignity. In this life, I won't give you that chance either. Soon after, the news of Farley Jason and the organization behind him being apprehended shook the world. The Marcus family, as the victims and whistleblowers, not only suffered no damage, but their reputations soared. My father took the opportunity to announce the true results of the drug research, declaring cooperation with the state for development, and dedicating a significant portion of the profits to a charity foundation for patients with rare diseases. The Marcus family entered an unprecedented golden age, and I, finally, could sleep peacefully. One night after everything was over, Selina, clutching a pillow, knocked on my door. She sat down on the edge of the bed, hesitating for a long time before asking softly, "Daria Marcus, how exactly did you know all of that?" I looked at her, staying silent for a moment, then asked gently in return, Do you believe in dreams? Selina paused. I smiled, saying slowly, In my dream, I saw our past life. She looked up, her eyes were curious. Then in the past life, we must have been enemies, right? I chuckled, gently pinching her cheek. No, in the past life, we were a loving family. Selina's eyes widened instantly, and she said irritably, Daria Marcus, are you still teasing me? I couldn't help but laugh heartily. She looked at me, took a few seconds to realize she was being teased, and angrily threw the pillow at me. We laughed loudly in the room, like two carefree sisters with no burdens left on our shoulders. When we stopped laughing, Selina suddenly asked softly, Why are you so good to me? My eyes were slightly teary. I remembered her pathetic state in the past life. I turned to face her, smiling faintly. Because I owed you too much in the past life. In this life, I don't just want to protect the Marcus family, but I also want to protect you. Selina hesitated a bit, then whispered, Can you tell me about that house? I understood she was asking about the family that raised me for 20 years, the place she once refused to go. I took out my phone and opened the album for her to see. Pictures and videos of the house, the yard, the fields, the chickens, and the ducks. As I flipped through, I recounted stories, my voice gradually softening. My foster parents were very kind. They loved me and gave me the best of everything. There's also a little sister, a few years younger, very mischievous but adorable. We used to go to the river to catch fish and steal watermelons. After being scolded by our parents, we'd be treated to delicious food. Selina listened and laughed, laughing until the corners of her eyes turned red. I looked at her and asked gently, Do you want to visit? She was silent for a long time, so long I thought she would refuse. But finally, she gently nodded. The next morning, I took her back to the house where I had lived for 20 years. The car stopped at the gate. My foster parents and little sister were already waiting. When they saw Selina, a myriad of emotions flashed across their faces, emotion, joy, mixed with a little shyness and awkwardness. My foster mother wrung her hands, tears welling up in her eyes, her voice choked. You are our biological daughter? Selina stood there, slightly rigid, looking as awkward as a child who didn't know how to react. My foster father also wiped his tears, and then the four of us hugged each other, bursting into sobs. Finally, it was my little sister, Sandra, the most mischievous one, who broke the emotional atmosphere. Come on, stop crying. If you keep crying, we'll be late for the braised goose tonight. My foster mother suddenly remembered the goose simmering on the stove and hurried inside. That evening, the five of us gathered in the small yard, eating goose and laughing heartily. My foster father, knowing Selina liked roses, shyly planted a few clumps in the corner of the yard. He said, Next year, when you two come back, the flowers should be blooming. They also held a welcoming ceremony for Selina, not as lavish as the Marcus families, but much warmer and livelier. The whole village was invited, slaughtering chickens and cows, setting up a feast in the communal yard, eating and watching performances. That night, Selina and I lay on the bamboo mat in the yard, looking up at the starry sky, something you never see in the city. She whispered softly, It's beautiful. I replied gently. My voice was catching. Yes, it is beautiful. We almost didn't get the chance to see it again. I turned to her and smiled. Luckily, in this life, I managed to keep everything. That entire summer, I was just like before, going to the river with my little sister to catch fish and to the fields to steal watermelons, only now with Selina joining us. Soon enough, she gained a new rival in my little sister, Sandra. The two would argue every day over who was the one their older sister loved more. Once, the two of them came back from the river, hands and feet covered in mud, each clutching a fish and refusing to let go. Sandra yelled, I caught it! Selina complained, I clearly caught it first. I stood watching, only able to laugh. Selina pouted, turned to me, and put on a pitiful look. Sister, I think this girl is always bullying me. You tell me, did I do anything wrong? Sandra gnashed her teeth. You damn green tea! Selina looked even more wronged, tears welling up. Sister, she called me green tea. You tell me, am I green tea? I laughed, stepped over and pulled both of them into a hug, saying gently, No, you are not green tea, little one. You are a matcha-flavored sweet cake, the kind of sweet cake I can't bear to let anyone else eat.